Right, welcome back to part two. This is the back nine from Oxford Golf Club for the Jamega Tour event, which was actually brought from 2 rounds down to 1 due to the weather. I expect you've already seen part 1 if you're watching part 2, so if you haven't, I'm basically having a bit of a mare. I'm about 4 or 5 over, I think it's 5, and yeah, I've left myself in some questionable places from the tee, and then my short game has been pretty much disastrous. This was an absolute disaster. So I was actually going into 9 and 10 thinking a couple birdies and I'll get the round relatively back on track at like 3 over, which isn't, you know, a terrible place to be. Even Beef, like Andrew Johnson, the European Tour player, actually played this and shot 4 over. Yeah, he probably just turned up 10 minutes before and wasn't that worried, but at the same time it shows that it wasn't a pushover conditions wise today. Greens were like properly fast, very slopey, and it called for a game of getting it in play, having really good distance control, and being really good around the greens, and being used to these green speeds, which is basically the complete opposite of my golf game. So if I was to choose like a golf course that I would want to play well at right now, it'd be 7,500 yards, a bit open, big greens, not too quick, and I could probably, you know, compete. But the good thing about playing these golf courses is that it's developing my game in a way that I wouldn't if I was just going out and playing long, wide open golf courses. So although it is brutal, and it is complete opposite of what I would actually want to play well, like I said, it's only going to develop it. So this back nine got off to a mare start. So I actually doubled 10 and 11, which is a lot of fun. But you'll see on 11 there wasn't really a bad golf shot here. It was just, again, maybe slightly unlucky or maybe half a club out. But you're going to see that in a second anyway. So what you're going to see over the next few days is a video that I filmed. So I went to film with Steve Surrey yesterday at Cumberwell Park. Now he actually played in this event, shot 1 over, but he's played in over 25 European Tour events, and we did a scramble, then we went out and played 9 holes. So that content is coming over the next few days, and basically what we did is we play a few holes, then we just chat, and I extracted a lot of really good information. Well, I didn't extract it, he was like willing to give a lot of really good information, and we talked a lot about course management, different shots that we're trying to play, and he basically said, well, I played well yesterday, I really played well when I played with him, and he basically was just like, I just don't see the number that you shot at Oxford, that I just don't see it, so like what is going on? Now a lot of it is managing my own game, the way that I'm like approaching it. Like I've been obsessed with swing changes over the last few months, which, you know, your technique obviously is very important, and to have a sound repeatable technique is necessary to play good golf. But what I haven't done is really, I haven't really played much. I haven't practiced my short game at all. I haven't been practicing wedges, like 150 yards in, distance control. These are all the things it takes to score, rather than making your swing look really pretty. And what I'm struggling to do is actually take my golf swing, the driving range, to the golf course and just play by feel. We shouldn't really be having swing thoughts when you're playing golf. It should be maybe like drill out some feelings before you step in. But then it should be all feel, which is what I ended up doing yesterday with him. I'd maybe get the feelings and then, I don't know, go on and just play golf. But another thing that I did find playing with Steve tomorrow, and you're going to see this, is it's nice, isn't it? Nice little 90-degree turn. Is he's not a long hitter. He gets in play, but his distance control from 150 yards in is just insane. And his wedge play from like 80 to 100 yards is so sharp. Couple that with a good short game, and someone that can hold putts. You've got a guy that, like, I would struggle to see him shooting worse than a couple over if he really had a bad day and had a lot of bad breaks. It just looks like he makes the golf his golf game's so stress-free. And we were talking about this, and that's the direction that I need to go. Yeah, there's some really good information coming over the next few videos. You're really going to like it, and that's the direction that we're going to continue to go with the channel, finding really good players to play with, extracting as much information so you can sort of like learn as you're watching this, and hopefully get a bit of entertainment at the same time. You probably get an entertainment watching me hack it around this golf course. Anyway, made par here. Actually hit a really good tee shot, but it caught like the front of the green and ripped back off. This is a par 4, almost like, I think it's 380 at play. It doesn't play 380 if you go direct line, but I sort of am here just trying to play a little cut. Hit a nice tee shot, left myself 160 yards. Pin was tucked in a pretty much inaccessible spot right up on the left. And there was a roll off to the left, just left of the pin. And the green actually slopes like hard from left side to right. So that shot there was about as good as I could do, other than actually getting it a bit deeper into the green. And this putt, I still don't really know how this missed. So if you look at this from 2 foot to a couple inches before the hole, and tell me how this misses. Nice. And that was sort of like the story of the day. There's another occurrence on 17 which is quite funny, which you got to see in a second. So on to 14. This is a drivable par 4, and this is again just being way too. Do you know what this shot calls for? Is just a bunted driver, maybe just a little like knockdown driver, but instead I'm trying to do too much with it, and I'm getting too technical with my golf swing, and end up hitting a poor shot. Leon from here just tells me to hit 48 and try and bump on up the green. Actually hit a really good shot, but it gets like a yard and then obviously rolls back down to the bottom of the hill. And this is sort of the sort of how it felt all day. You know, I'd hit a relatively good tee shot, it would get a kick, end up behind a tree. I'd hit a shot like that, it would roll up to the top, roll back down. Instead of getting an extra yard, having a putt for birdie, I've now got a putt for par. It's just stuff like that all day, which sort of grinds on you. But one thing I'm really happy with from this round, although my score was terrible, I thought my attitude was actually really positive and really good. I didn't get down on myself. I didn't start, you know, making a big fuss about the bad breaks that I was getting, because I know how easy it is in golf. As soon as things start to not go your way, it's so easy to be like, oh, this is a joke. Which, yeah, I may have said tongue-in-cheek a few times, but I didn't let that affect the rest of my round. I still actually moved on and tried to score. And to be honest, at the moment, this is like my first Jamega event. I've got a lot of West Region events coming up soon, which means that my August and September, fingers crossed that it doesn't get affected by what's going on at the moment. I've got so much golf coming up that this is really just so early on, and getting these competitive rounds in, even though they may be poor at the moment, is just helping me progress at quite a fast rate. Although you probably won't see it with the score of this day. But every time you play a competitive round, you're learning something and you're moving on. And that's what it's about. And just getting the rest of the game together, I feel like my level of improvement can be actually quite dramatically fast. So that's what we're moving towards. But after seeing Steve and speaking, it's the priorities now are, obviously I'm still going to be working on technique, but more working the technique stuff that I need to do, because I still have the tendency to move off the ball a tiny bit in the backswing and then get the hips moving towards the ball in the downswing, which leads me to turn the hands over a bit. So that's still like a tendency, but it's a tendency that I'm going to try and manage rather than make huge changes. And the way I'm going to manage that is doing lots of dry work. And dry work, if you're not aware, means stuff you can do at home in your front room. So drilling stuff out without a golf club, as slow as you can, and just trying to just basically get those movement patterns into your golf swing without, you know, really making a conscious effort of forcing golf swing. And then obviously can continue working with that. And really the biggest thing is I'm going to start getting up to Clifton Hill. So Clifton Hill, the driving range where I'm attached to, they've got a TrackMan, and although they've got range balls, what I'm going to do is get there before it opens and spend a fair bit of time working on 120 yards and in, and doing a lot of the and taking my own balls and doing like the wedge tests and working on distance control, getting that dialed in so I can really get confident, because I leave myself so many shots from 120 yards and in. If I can get my distance control, my wedge game in a really good state, and also continue to improve my short game and my skills on the greens, that's where the real improvement is going to come. So this is the funny one. So this is 17. So 145 yards. It's downwind, pins back left. I hit a 48 degree here. Now I pitched it pin high. You won't believe where this ends up. This is literally pitched just past the hole, come back a bit. And this is the story of the day. Yeah. Cheers. I just had to laugh at that point. You can see how breezy it is here. So ended up having 40 foot up the green. My score was already in tatters at this point, but still trying to grind it out, which I was proud of, and actually ended up making a nice par here, despite the fact that the flag shadow was like all over the place. How off-putting is this? Look at that shadow.
But all the distractions.
So off 18, tried to do too much, tried to play a low fadey one out there, ended up hitting a terrible tee shot. Again, unnecessary stuff that we're going to talk about with Steve. I've really, honestly, you're going to love the content that we did. Left in a nasty spot, but this is a par 5, the last hole. So ended up just basically having an 8 iron and just trying to get it back into play so I can leave myself a wedge in, which I actually did here quite successfully. Clipped the leaf, but ended up in a good spot, hitting a right wedge shot onto the green, and then you'll be like really surprised that the putt lipped out, but yeah, it's just one of those days. Anyway, yeah, I've tried to record this a couple of times, but I get jumping over my words. But this is a brutally honest round review and just talking about what's going on in my golf game. Obviously, this is a terrible round of golf, but terrible in the scoring sense. I still took positives, and I still learnt a lot from the day, and this is still very early on in the progress. So, you know, I'm not disheartened. You know, we go again next time. And thanks for watching this round review. There'll be lots more coming up. I'll compete again in a couple weeks' time. And yeah, Steve Sorry videos come in over the next few days.